All right, Shalom. Before I do anything, I want to start off by saying Brakatah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that are scattered abroad. And with that, this is Brother Samak coming at you with another lesson, Lord will. This is edifying. So, yeah, right now I'm at the plantation, but spirit hits you, the spirit hits you. The scriptures talk about quench not the spirit. So it's like, I can't help to talk about this, man. And it's like, the lesson I'm probably going to call this is just the mindset. Having the mindset, man. And it's two ways of looking at it. And this is how I looked at it in two ways. Having the mindset. Having the mindset is, again, when it comes to the elect, they have this wild imagination. They have the ability and the power coming from the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? And his son, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Those are the true names whereas we shall be saved by. So Yahweh being the Father and Yahweh Shai being the Son, that's where we get these the spirit to be thinking about these things, the mindset of these things when it comes to a lot of things, but especially the scriptures, unlocking that thing inside of our head for us to see, giving our eyes to see. I'm just going all over the place, but the point is the mindset that the elect is going to have to where they can see, what's the word for it? Past this, man. The scriptures say the prudent, right? About the prudent, which prudent is the ones that can see things before it even comes. See things ahead, right? Looking forward. That's what the elect is going to be doing, man. They're going to be looking forward, and again, it's all to do with that mindset. The mindset to where that the kingdom coming. All these things that are bad, happening now with the wars and uproars of the people and everything. There's nothing good about where we are right now, but yet the elect, right, is seeing past this. We have the mindset of we're getting through this, man. That's the mindset you got to have in these last days, man. The mindset to, like, I'm gonna get through this. That confidence. Let me start where what was it? This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, right? And I'll start at verse 16 real quick. It says, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day," constantly being renewed in the spirit, man. Praying, fasting, being around brothers, good brothers, man, the like-minded brothers that just get through, man. Just have you in that spirit, man. Going reading the word, the word which the scriptures talk about. The word, it's the word that quickens you to make you alive. He Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, quickening us, man. But it says, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, right? Light affliction. This is light compared to what we're going to have, man. So our light affliction, which is but for a moment, it's only for us a moment of time, man. The thing I like to say a lot is, what was it? Nothing lasts forever. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, but in this case, it's a good thing, Of course, depending on how you look at things, but when I said as far as nothing lasts forever, but the point is on this side, on this part, it's a good thing. this place, this kingdom is not going to last forever. You know, this place, America, is going to be destroyed, man. And we see it. And again, having that mindset to where this place is going to be destroyed, and us, the elect of the true is men of the Lord, right, is going to take the kingdom, right? As it says in Daniel 7:18. So it says, which is but for a moment, worketh for us, a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. You know? So this is way, way like our reward. You know, Lord, will we be a part of that number and we get through this? You know, it's going to be way like, it's going to be like, what? All because I just did this little thing, I get all this, you know? So far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, right? But at the things which are not seen. And that's the elect, man. The elect aren't going to be thinking or looking at the things that are seen, man. They're not going to be thinking about the things that, what's going on. You know, of course, we look for the signs, right? We look for what's going on, but we don't get tripped up. We don't get what's the word for it? Like these 2/3 of our people are like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? You know, they're gonna be a lot of chaos, a lot of crying, you know, a lot of bad things that's gonna be coming upon our people where they're not gonna know what to do, you know. But the elect is going to see past this. They're not gonna be looking at the things, you know, in a carnal, with a carnal eye. You know, we look at things in a spiritual eye, man. You know. So again, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen, for the things which are not seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So this place, man, we're looking past this, man. You know, again, that goes into having the mindset. You know, our mind is already set, man. You know, having being that kingdom mindset. So the kingdom mindset and having the mindset to where it's like, yo, let's do it, man. You know, and so that's one hand, and at the same time, so it's two, like I said, two types of ways to look at it, but it's basically the same thing. But having the mindset, right, of what? Kingdom, everything, but having your mind set, you know, having your mind set like, I gotta do this, you know. The scriptures say that let me get it. I could quote it, but I just like to read it too, you know. I forgot how to spell it. Forgive me for my spelling. My goodness. Wait, Salakia. Okay, I got it. This is Romans chapter 4. Come on. Straight to the point. Actually, no, let me read up. Actually, this is a good chapter. Real quick. Let's read verse 18. Oof. 17. I'll just I'll read verse 17. It says, as it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even the Most High, who quickeneth the dead, and called those things which be not as though they were. So, long story short, again, like I said, as far as the quicken means to be made alive, and that's what happened. It goes into the dry bones in Ezekiel 37. You know, us being in a dead state, right? That dead state of mind, not physically dead, but spiritually dead. So now we being quickened, right? Being made alive, right? Through the Spirit, you know. Now, it says, who gave us, who against hope believed in hope, that he might believe the Father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be, right? And it goes into it as far as hoping, faith, you know. It says, and be not weak in faith. He considered not his own body now dead, when he was 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of the Most High through unbelief, but he was strong in faith. And he's talking about Abraham, giving glory to the Most High, because, long story short, he had faith going into it. You know, Abraham had faith, man. You know, when he sacrificed Isaac, well, not sacrifice, but when he was about to sacrifice Isaac, he had faith, man. That takes faith, man. You know, that's beautiful. It says, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform. See? It says, and therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. So, long story short, the things that he did, this proves as well, faith without works is dead. Because the things that Abraham did proved his faith, right? And what more when we're out in this world and we're what could I say? We go through these troubles and again, we prove our faith through the works that we're doing. You know, going out on the highways and byways, man. You know, dealing with these our people and again, this world, going through this world and still having our mind set on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and pleasing him. You know, that's basically what Abraham did, man. He didn't care. He believed and had faith in Yahweh, man. You know? So us going through these things, you know, especially in these last days where the war is happening, and who knows, brothers may be persecuted, you know, brothers going through you know, cast into prison, everything like that. This is what's going to prove our faith, man. You know? Constantly doing these things, but the main point is being fully persuaded, you know. I don't think I wanted that one, but Slacky, hold on. Okay, I got it. This is Romans chapter 14. This whole chapter is good too, but let me see something. I just wanted to go straight to the point, but I mean, goodness gracious, man. Salaki, hold on. Con. This is Romans chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteem every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind, right? So being fully persuaded in your own mind, man, you know, we're you either all in or nothing, man. You know? So again, that mindset, you gotta have your mind ready, man. You know? So when we see these things, when we see threats and everything like that, and things that the average person will be more than likely afraid of, we can't be afraid of those things, because the scriptures talk about that these things were going to happen. The devil will cast some of you into prison. We know these things. It's better to know it and go through it than to not know it and go through it. It's like, again, what I was saying before the camera came on. It's like literally taking a test, man. Because ultimately, this is just a test, right? It's a test. And before you take a test, you what? You study, right? You study for this test. And that's us going through the fire, what's that? Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Roughly paraphrased, I could get it. I think that's in Apocrypha. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 5, straight to the point. It says, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." So we're going to be tried, right? We're going to go through things, right? But ultimately, that's just to prepare us for what's to come. And the elect is being prepared right now. They're going to prepare themselves and get through this. Again, this is compared to like a test, man. This is a test. So us studying for that, constantly studying, is going to make us what? Confident. And confident, con meaning with, fide meaning what? Faith. So with faith, this is definite, man, where we're going to have the faith to get through, So it's a beautiful thing. Real quick, I want to read this in the GNT though. This chapter. All right, Khan. This is Sirach 2 and verse 1. It says, "My child, if you are going to serve the Lord, be prepared for the times when you will be put to the test." And see, you're going to be tested, right? So, and best believe when, say, Esau got you and you're stuck and he has you, and you either take the chip or the MOTB, the micro chip, or die. That's the thing that you got to think about. Like, are you gonna take it? Are you gonna take it? That's the test. So it's like you're gonna be put through so many things. Who knows what we're gonna go through, man? We don't know. But we prepare for the worst. Expect, what was it? How you say it? Expect the worst, but hope for the best. We got to think of the outcome too. Through all this, after this is the kingdom. Whatever we have to do to get out of here, man. That's again having the mindset, man, and also having your mind set. So having your mind set on, like, got to do what you got to do. Be prepared. Again, it says, be prepared for the times when you will be put to the test. Be prepared. And that prepared is what? By studying, right? You got to be prepared. And I was talking to, before the camera came on, I remember a lot of times when I was in school, I didn't really study for tests like that, but I could say there was probably like 3, 4, maybe 5, that I actually studied for, and one in particular was like I think it was when I was in biology, biology, which I actually love biology. I think it was biology, or either chemistry, one or the other. But yeah, I loved it, where I studied I studied for this test, and I studied. And by the time we was ready to take the test, I was confident, man. I was confident because I was ready. There was some kids that I didn't study, I didn't know what to do. They was shook. And that what more 2/3 of our people, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. What more our people? So it's like the elect is already going to be what? Well studied. To where they're going to be confident. They're going to be like, yo, let's go. Bring the test on. That's the type of time that I was on when I was ready to take that chem or bio test, man. You know? Because I studied. And that made me what? Confident. And again, confident goes into having faith. You know? We have there's having the knowledge, wisdom, understanding. With all that comes the what? The faith, everything. So it's beautiful, man. You know? You're getting through that and it's like, yo, I got this, man. Bring the test. I was ready. I was like, yo, let's go. I want to take this test. And you be ready. Like, let's go. That's the type of time the elect is going to be on, man. Like, yo, let's go. You know? It says, be sincere. And that's the spirit too, Salakia. Because the scriptures talk about, real quick, Salakia. Let me go to, what's that, 2 Peter? Yep. Real quick, it says verse 12, straight to the point. It says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of Yahweh. It says, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's the thermonuclear missiles. It says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for heavens and a new earth, or new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. We're looking forward to, man. You know, we're not looking, bro. Slack it. Can't. I was thinking I was being excited, but looking for, man. We're man. If somebody talks about you ain't. I'm telling you. Somebody talks about, yeah, man. 2030. I'm gonna be what? Ain't gonna be no 2030. We thinking we gonna get out of here right now. We're gonna be in the kingdom next year. You know, we're gonna get out of here, man. You know, that's the mindset we supposed to be on, man. Having our spiritual bags packed, man. You know, but I just want to bring that out because it's like, yeah, like bring the test on, you know, like that type of stuff. You know, that's the key, man. The having the faith, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, like that's what's gonna get us through. The faith, having faith, man. And the scriptures talk about that faith is a gift of the Most High, man. You know? So it says, be sincere and determined. Keep calm when trouble comes. So again, determined. Being determined. I kind of want to look that up real quick. The word determined. Real quick, it says determined. It says cause something to occur. Right? Yeah, determined. It says cause something to occur in a particular way. Be decisive factor. In it says let me see. Typically the result it's not going on. Salaki, I want to see. Here we go. It says having made a firm decision and being resolved not to change it. Woo! See? Going back to what? Fully persuaded in thine own mind, man. So you got to be fully persuaded, man. And it's like, I'm not going to change, man. You know, standing firm, standing your ground. You know, the scriptures, brothers talk about all the time how you got to be rooted. You know, you got to be rooted. Like, when you think about being rooted, it's like roots like holding on. Like, you can't, like a tree that will not move. Whatever you do, you cannot move it. You know, take it out from the root. You can't. It's so dig down, you can't. It's strong. It's firm. You know, that's the time we have to be on when it comes to this truth, right? Yes, that's it. That's the point. So going back to Sirach and the GMT, it says, stay with the Lord, never abandon him, and you will be prosperous at the end of your days. See, it says stay with the Lord. So no matter what, you have the Lord on your side, no worries, man. You know, having the mindset of like, the Lord's got me, man. You know, again, we meditate on the word and go back to the scriptures, right? Once we have the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the scriptures and everything, you know, we think about these things. We meditate on those things, and that's what's ultimately going to get us through. Again, having the answers, right? Because we studied. You know, we have the answers. The electors, they have the answers, right? But the 2/3 don't have the answers. They don't have these things, man. They don't have the things to meditate on. Nothing to grab onto, you know? Their houses were built on sand, you know? The things that they're holding on to, it's nothing. It's not going to save them, you know? It says, accept whatever happens to you, even if you suffer humiliation, be patient. Right, be patient. The scriptures talk about in Revelation, the 3rd chapter in the 10th verse, since thou hast kept the word of my patience, roughly paraphrasing, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, man. You know, which shall come upon all the world. So these things that the Heavenly Father is going to keep us from, you know, if we keep this word, man, keep the words of his patience, right? And being patient goes into suffering, right? It says gold is tested by fire, and human character is tested in the furnace of humiliation, right? And that's the key, man. You know, we being humiliated. You know, we again, in a way, it's again the humble, you know, making us humble. And that's the key too, you know. It says, trust in the Lord and he will help you. Walk straight in his ways and put your hope in him. See? So, yeah, put your hope in him. AKA, hope can also mean what? Faith. Your faith in him, your trust in him. You know, you got to trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not upon thine own understanding, right? That's what the elect is going to do, but these 2/3 of our people, they're going to go about to establish their own righteousness. They're going to go about to trust in themselves and not trust in the Heavenly Father, man. You know, but meanwhile, he's the only one that can get you out of these problems, these situations, man. Once you realize that and you understand it, you don't even try anymore. You know, you don't even try to do things of your own anymore. You know, if it be of the Lord's will, that's what we say. Lord will, Lord will, Lord will. You know, I get out of this. You know, you pray to the Lord to get you out of this. You know, praying is very important, man. That's what's going to get us through. And again, going back, man, keep your mind, you know, keeping your mind right. You know, think like, I can't get out of this without Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. But I didn't want to make this too long. I pray that you've been edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that is scattered abroad. And with that I say, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. And I might make a part 2 of this, but yeah, for now, Shalom.